Hey there, it's your girl Cha Jones, and welcome to Life's a Vacay. Now, I don't care where you are or what you're doing, you deserve to hear this. Your life doesn't have to be hard, it can be soft. I am a global soft life consultant and coach, and I help you get your life right so that you don't have to be burnt out, you don't have to be worried, you don't have to be stressed, but you can live your best life no matter where you are, doing exactly what you want to do. So, thank you for joining me here on Life's a Vacay, and I hope that you like, share, and subscribe. Today, I am going to be talking about my my life as an expat and what I learned during this time. So, I originally became an expat in 2008 and I lived in South Korea. I went not even knowing that this was a whole entire lifestyle. But I went to I went to Korea as an expat, a traditional expat. So they paid for me to get there. They gave me housing. I had a job and all the things. So after I went back to the US, I started this thing all over again once I had a child. So now I am a single mother. Didn't expect that. And I live abroad. I moved to Mexico in 2021 um, with my then 18-month-old, who is now 5. And we lived in Mexico for about 3 years. We are now in Malaysia. He has recently turned 5. And so I also bring that layer of expertise. So if you are interested in moving abroad, I'm your girl. If you're interested in getting your life to a point where you can have more freedom and flexibility anywhere you are, I'm also your girl. But if you are a single mom and you trying to figure out how can you do this, you too can do this. It's not rocket science. I did not wake up and just be like, you know what? I'm gonna go do this. I had some experience. However, with no experience, um, you can live the sleep. But it's really about what you want to do. It's not impossible. And if you're sitting here watching this and you're like, you know what? I have X amount of children. I don't have any support. I don't have this. Baby, you still can do this. Get rid of the excuses, change your mindset, and make it happen. And I know that all sounds just real simple, but it's possible. So, today I am going to be talking about why I actually moved abroad and the things I wish that I would have known before moving abroad. Like I said, the first time I ever moved abroad, had just turned 33, 2 days before I moved to South Korea. And I didn't know anything about living abroad. Matter of fact, I had never left the country. I had the furthest I had been was Hawaii and Puerto Rico. And so we know Puerto Rico is a territory and Hawaii is a state. And so that's still in the confines of America. Now, when you go to Puerto Rico, you you do feel a little out of sorts because everybody does not speak English. Most people speak Spanish, but it's still part of the US, so it's not so bad. Anyways, I got to Korea. I just had an open mind. But the one thing that I wish I would have known when I first moved to Korea is that this was a thing. Like, this was a whole lifestyle. Really wish I would have known that this was a whole entire lifestyle and that people out here was doing this and I could have did this like earlier. So if you're young, baby, get on it. If you're old, get on it. There's no age limit to this. Just do it. I feel like I'm Nike now. So that's one of the things that I wish I would have known. The other thing is that I wish I would have known all of the opportunities that come with living abroad. So specifically in Asia, so I was in South Korea. flights are hella cheap when you get to Asia. So you can get from, so real life story. So when I lived in Korea, I had opportunity to go to Hong Kong. I had to go to China, Japan, Malaysia. So there's all these different countries that are in Asia that are hella far from the US, but they're right at your fingertips when you're in Asia. So, for instance, when I came to Malaysia for the very first time in 2012, I was able to get here for like $50. And then I bought a ticket from Malaysia to Singapore. At that time, it was $5. $5. Where are you going in the US? You can't go down the street for $5. Like for real, for real. So so that in and of itself is amazing. I wish I would have been like, girl, honey, child, whoever is listening, listen. Get out your own way. Make the opportunities make sense for you. And so that's one of the things I really wish I would have known then, because there are airlines like Air Asia that are hella cheap. They are like Southwest was when it first started back in like the 80s, where you could fly. I'm aging myself. That's okay. Cause she almost 50. It's okay. It's okay. I can do that. But back in the day, Southwest was like you could get flights for 20, 30, $40, right? They say they had those sales now, but it was nothing like it used to be. Like you literally to get on Southwest, that's what you was paying. But Air Asia is like that. Now, Air Asia's kind of like Spirit. I've only taken Spirit a couple times. Once. Once. And the thing is that with Spirit, they nickel and dime you on everything. Air Asia is not so bad. However, if you gonna bring a bunch of bags and stuff like that, they gonna charge you. Just that's 100. Keeping it 100 with you. So that's another thing that I learned, or that I wish I would have known prior to, starting this life abroad. The other thing that I wish I would have known is that you do change. Now, everybody is changing every day. Like if you're gonna live, you're gonna change. You either change or you die in some capacity, right? But it's difficult sometimes when you move abroad and life as you know it is gone. Like, so once you get on that plane and you go to wherever it is that you're going and your life is shifting and changing, the people that you left behind, their lives are shifting and changing. And not at the same rate or speed, right? You may be shifting over here, they're shifting over there, and y'all may not be on the same page anymore, right? That's just going to happen. That's in life. I liken it to if you go to college and you leave home and you're, let's say, from the Northeast and then you go to school in the South. When you go to school, life is changing. You're meeting new people, you're having new experiences. The people at home, they meet new people too. They have different experiences. And then when you get back, you feel like you don't fit in because your life has shifted in some capacity and everybody else's has shifted too. However, sometimes it feels like you shifted and they stayed the same. They still doing the same thing. They're still going to the same places. They still have the same 9 to 5 and everything is the same as it seems, right? But in reality, everybody has shifted, right? And so when you move abroad, you have that same experience, but you're talking about culture and countries and all kinds of stuff in between has shifted. You've been around different people, you've been influenced by different foods, you different languages, all of these things occur. And so oftentimes when you come home, what they call repatriation, whether it's actually moving back home or when you go home and you find yourself in the same situations that you were in previously, but you feel totally different, it is confusing. And I liken it to a mental breakdown. And it doesn't happen immediately per se. Sometimes it can happen just as you get off the plane. You like, yo, what? What y'all doing in America? Why we acting like this? Why we got attitudes? What's going on? And all the things that you had unlearned, you now to relearn. All of those things are going on. And so I wish I would have known that the process, like nobody explained that to me. I literally had to learn that on my own. And once I got to grad school, which is what happened when I came back from Korea, I went to grad school and I actually studied this because my new major was intercultural communications. And so I was learning about this phenomenon that actually occurs. And then for me, that just like, oh, I'm not crazy. People have changed. I have changed. And this is my new life. And so, anybody, like, if you are into metaphysics and you know anything about quantum leaping, baby, go abroad. You're going to quantum leap for real, for real. That is the truth. So, that's another thing that I wish I would have known. Um, what else would I wish I would have known? The other thing that I think I wish I would have known is that um, I loved living abroad. And when I came back, I wish I would have known that I didn't want to really be back in America. And that at some point I would have wanted to go back abroad. I knew that I never wanted to come back from Korea. I just came back, and then I had some situations happen where, unfortunately, I was in head-on collision, and it kind of changed the trajectory of my life. So I ended up being back in America, kind of not planned, but the reality is that it was what it was. But then I still incorporated everything that I had learned living abroad, and then I was in grad school in a global international school that I was learning about globalization, global economy, culture, and such. So I wasn't far removed. Um, and so I guess I didn't necessarily plan per se, but as life would have had it, I just kind of moved in that circle. Um, but I didn't really know that I would become a mother at 43 and then find myself internationally living again. So I guess that's another thing that I just wish I would have known that, some of the things of raising a child internationally that are totally different than raising them in the United States, especially when it comes to the distance and being apart from family and growing separately. And so it's like being, you're part of a tribe, and then you got this last Mohican that goes off into the woods and does their own thing, and you don't have the same, you know, you give up a lot of things. You give up that community aspect, and you create your own community wherever you are. But that's still family, friends, and you still want that to be very much part of your life, but it's so much distance between you. So you have to do everything that you can possibly do to keep communication lines open, continue to connect. And now it's a lot easier than when I originally moved abroad. We had Skype back then, so you could do video calls, but everybody didn't have Skype downloaded on a phone or a computer, and all the scheduling parts. Now you can just, and smartphones were not the thing. Smartphones were hella expensive at the time. So originally you didn't have all the technology. You now have way more technology than you had back in the early 2000s. So that in of itself it makes it so much better. But those are the top things that I wish that I would have known. Now, If you are thinking about living abroad, let me help you out. I have written an ebook that goes over the top 6 to 7 things that I wish I would have known that expand or expound off of what I just said. So it's an extension of this video, and you can get it down in the description. I'm going to drop it down so that you can get this book. It's an ebook, easy read, not that many pages, just content that I sat down and thought about, some of which I've talked about here, and then some more that I haven't even mentioned here. But get the book, download it, and thank me later, because I think that, when I start thinking and reflecting about my life living abroad and things that I just really have found challenging and rewarding, I think it's important that, and so that's what I'm doing. So please get your book. Also, if you found this helpful, like, share, and subscribe, because your girl needs subscriptions. She does. If you also like this content, buy me a coffee. You can do that down in the description as well. I want to thank you for joining me today. I will have more of this content just like this um, on my channel. Again, please subscribe so that you can get notifications when I drop my next video. Until then, I'm your girl, Cha Jones. And just remember, life is what you make it. So make it the best that you can possibly make it. Until next time, peace.